Key number 7, service. Key number 7 is about service above self. And when I mean that literally, that whatever you do is it got to be beyond you, that you're contributing to something greater than you. And that's a spiritual conversation in a certain way, because it's about believing that there's something bigger than you out there to start with. It doesn't have to be a God or a church or a mosque or synagogue. It doesn't have to be exactly that. But it has to be believing that you're contributing to something bigger than you. A couple examples. One, medical technology organization that builds heart pumps and dialysis machines. Okay, that's what they do. Factory. It's just a factory. Factory workers putting in screws. Okay, putting in the screws on the machine. The assembly line, part A, part B, part C goes down the road. Their AGM every year, they have someone who just received a kidney give them a talk. Because why did they get a kidney? Because they had a dialysis machine that they could count on for the 3 years or the 2 years or the 6 months that they were waiting for a kidney. And whose machine was it? The machine that person put the screw into, or the machine that the person put the wire into. So that connects to service above self, and that's hard sometimes, because sometimes you're sort of a couple of degrees removed from the organization. It's like a chef, Like a chef is one of the happiest people in the world, but they never get the credit for it, because what do we do when we have a good meal? We tell the waiter compliments to the chef. So sometimes you're not 1 degree of separation like the waiter is to you at your table. You're 2 degrees of separation like the chef is. Now the owner of the restaurant is 3 degrees of separation. The boss of that is even further away. So sometimes when you're in organizations like governments, for example, where you're 2 or 3 degrees of separation away, it's hard to find the juice for the joy that you do. It's hard to find the difference that you make, but find it because it's there. It's really, really powerful and really, really important. Viktor Frankl put it very nicely. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, which today we call People's Search for Meaning. It was written just after the Second World War from his experience in the concentration camps. And he talked to people in the concentration camps, and some people made it and some people didn't make it. They're all fed the same, so they had the same amount of food for their body, which wasn't very much. But some people made it and some people didn't make it. And he talked to the people that made it. And the people that made it through the concentration camp had the attitude, well, of gratitude, but they had an attitude that the reason that they made it through the camp was because they had something left to do in their life. They had something left to do. They had something important that they wanted to do. And it could have been weeding the garden. One lady actually wanted to weed her garden because she knew it was in neglect, because she was in jail, she was in the concentration camp for 4 years. She wanted to weed her garden. She wanted to make a beautiful garden. Another person wanted to play with their children, find the children. And whatever it is, they had something beautiful left to do in their lifetime. And when you have something beautiful left to do, you feel engaged with your life. And you feel engaged with your time and your talents, and they line up. They line up to be a joyful experience.